Hi, everybody. My name is Ebenezer. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I created this YouTube channel in order to assist those who want to come to United States to further their education. Most importantly, those who want to further for their master's and PhD. Later on, I will talk more about undergraduates, but basically, for now, I will only based on master's and PhD students. Please subscribe to my channel in order to get more videos, and also click on the notification button in order to get to be notified whenever I upload another videos. Okay, so basically there are some things I'll be talking about, some today and some other time as I'll be uploading the videos. I'll be talking about how to apply to to university here, applications. I'll be talking about visa interview questions needed to be asked and to answered. Um, to go with the glory, I've assisted 12 people who are presently in the United States right now, and I've prepared 8 people for interview, whereby 7 has been given. The third one, one out of them was rejected the second time because the day of his the day he went for the interview. I think the day of his reception is like 2 days to the time he went for the interview, so he was rejected finally because of that. So. And there's some things that he's supposed to have said that it did not, and that's why it was rejected. So out of 8, 7 got their visa, and thank God to that. So I'll be putting you through on how to answer questions related to visa interview for students and some other things that you need to know. And I also explain school by school application. Most importantly, I will start with my own school that gave me admission for masters, which bring me down to US. Then I will talk about some other schools. The school I'm presently studying for my PhD, I'll also talk about that in some other videos. But I'm going to start from the foundation first. So you need to understand the visa you need to apply for if you're coming here as a student. So we have 2 different type of visa for immigration students here in the United States. We have the F-1 and we also have the J-1. And these 2 visas have also spouse visa alongside with it. So if you apply for F-1 and you are married, you can apply, your spouse can apply for F-2, okay? And also if you are maybe apply for J-1, your wife or your husband or your children can apply for J2, including F1 and F2 too. Your children can also apply for that. So I'm going to start with that today and talking about the differences between F1 and J1. And I'll also show you some things that you need to know and think about, okay, what can I apply for? Should I apply for F1 or J1? So, and things you need to know and things you need to understand. But after this video, all other frequent videos are going to be on application. I will show you some schools application, what you need to know, and all those things. Then later, I will also talk about the visa interview, questions that may be asked, how you need to compose yourself, and every other things like that. I think the last visa interview I did was there was a day I was coming out of the library, and one of our colleagues just came to meet me and said, "Hey, do you have anybody who is doing visa interview? I want somebody who's going to do a visa interview for my husband." And I said, "Oh yeah, I do it too." And for all the interviews so far I've done so far, I've not collected any money from anybody. Even those who I've assisted who are here in the United States, I've never collected a dime from anybody. So what I used to tell people is that I'll put you through, tell you what you need to know, ask your question and every other things. And I will tell you every step by step. But the most important thing is that it's good for you to also read and Anytime I tell you some things, also work towards that also, because I have a little knowledge and some little experience about it, you know. Then also, the person I'm talking about, the wife told me, and I said, okay, so I think he's having this interview on Wednesday. And then we had, what is it called? I called him through WhatsApp and we talked about the interview and I asked some question from him. He answered some question. I told him what he needs to say, what he don't need to say, and every other things like that. So we are on the phone for 2 hours. So I spent that 2 hours to explain things to him and every other things. And I went for an interview on Wednesday and he got it. So, and I have some other people too who have put through, and I have some people who have gone for the first time and they were rejected. And I asked them what question was asked. They said, this, how do you answer this? I said, no, that's not how I'm supposed to answer. Then go back. When you get back there, just immediately you get to the front of the consular, just tell them that, hey, this is my mistake. This is where I make a mistake. This is what I'm supposed to have said and everything. And yeah, they got their visa back. So most of this thing is what I'll be explaining to you in this channel. And welcome to my channel. You're free to comment. You're free to ask questions. I'm going to answer you and every other things like that. So today, I will be talking about these two status, the two visa status. I was talking about the F-1 visa and the J-1 visa and the differences between the two of them. So I'll be showing you some little slides just to buttress what I'm really talking about. And surely, I believe that one is going to end up helping you. Okay. So let's start with that. Okay. So I'll be talking about the difference between the F-1 visa and the J-1 visa. So first and foremost, we want to talk about the F-1 visa first. So I'm going to explain the F-1 visa first to you. Go through that. Then secondly, I will talk about the J-1 visa. So what is F-1 visa? F-1 visa given to international students. Every international student are eligible for F-1 visa. So the moment you applied for admission here in the United States, you will be asked to choose one of these visa status in your application. So you see F1 there, and you also see J1 there. So you'll be able to know the one you're going to go for, you know. So for F1 visa, it's just for all international students, And those who are entitled to this F1 visa are those who have source of fund. That's if you have your own personal source of fund, or you want to sponsor yourself. If you're sponsoring yourself, yeah, you can apply for F1 visa. Or if it is your family that's sponsoring you, you can apply for F1 visa. If it is your friend, or a scholarship, or a fellowship, or a combination of one or more resources, yeah, you can go ahead and apply F1 visa. You are entitled to apply for F1 visa. And one major thing is that about this F1 visa is that there is no homecoming residence requirements following the completion of your program. So no homecoming residence, no homecoming. The moment we completed your program, there's nothing like going back home. Yeah, you can still stay here to get a job and every other things like that. So this is one of the important thing about F1 visa. So you can stay here, get a job. We're still going to talk about that. So number one thing I want you to understand about F1 visa. Okay. Now, I want to also talk about F1 visa on campus and off-campus employment. So we're going to talk about that. So you already know that if you have source of fund, you can apply for F1 visa. So if you're on F1 visa and you are on campus, the campus employment is very required. So you'll be working on the campus, and it's very important for your status. So as F1 visa, you can't work outside the campus. So you can only work in the campus. So, and you are limited to 20 hours a week work. You are limited to 20 hours a week work. So, and you can do that while the school is on session, and also you have full time during unofficial, well, during official school break. So you can work full time when the school is on break, but when the school is in section, you are limited to 20 hours. When the school is on break, you can work full time, but in the school, while you are still studying either for your master's or PhD. So you can only work in the school, you can work outside the school. So most of the time, if you get fund maybe from the school, maybe you get a graduate teaching assistant or you get graduate research assistant. Some get graduate teaching and research assistant for scholarship, which is sponsored by the school. Yeah, you can, you're advisable to work in the school. So you can work outside the school. Is against the rules and regulation of the university, or most important of the United States. So if they've caught you doing that, you'll be out of status and you might be deployed. So know that. And most of the time when you get this graduate teaching assistant or research assistant, school will pay you. You'll be getting some stipends from the school. So now when you are done with your studies as F-1 visa, you are done with your studies. And even while you are still doing your studies, you can apply for internship. So that internship is called CPT. So you can work outside the school for 3 months. And the internship must be related to your course of study. So it must be related to your major. It has to be related to your major. So for example, maybe you came here to study maybe mathematical finance or maybe predictive analysis, and you get a job to go and teach maybe in high school or something like that. Now you won't get a CPT for that. So you have to get something related to your course of study. So when you get something related to your course of study, while you are still in school, you can apply for internship. So the schedule is going to be 3 months. And I have a lot of people after they apply for internship, maybe they got to their 4th year, and during summer they apply for internship. Most of the time they get retained back by the company, and the moment they graduate, they return back to the company to work with them. And this comes with what is called OPT. So OPT is called optional practical training. So every F-1 is eligible for 12 months of OPT. So, and what does OPT work is that the moment you graduate, you are done, maybe for your master's or for your PhD, you can apply for OPT. So you get OPT to work for 1 year. But the most important thing is that if you study, maybe your course of study related to science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and so on, you are eligible for 12 months, additional 12 months. So which means that if you are this category, you can work in the United States for 3 years. So you are eligible for 1 year first, then you can apply for extra 2 years. So that's how it works. So if you are in this category, yeah, you can get 3 years. And during that 3 years, I always advise people to get a company that filed for H-1B so that you can get full work authorization. H-1B is work authorization, but that is going to be another day. But I'm still talking about F-1 visa today. So I'll talk about that in another time. But the most important thing I'm really talking about here today is for you to know the visa status that you can apply for as a student. So here, let me repeat it one more time. When you are done with your master's or PhD, you apply for OPT, you are eligible for 1 year OPT, and if you are under this category, science, technology, engineering, you're under STEM, they call it STEM. You're under STEM as a student, you can apply for another 2-year extension. Okay, now for F1 visa, there's what we also call F2 visa, which is under F1. So they are co-dependent under F1 visa. So as F1 visa, you can bring in your spouse or your children. So your spouse and your children are going to fall under F2. They're going to fall under F2. And one thing about F2 is that your spouse as an F2 status cannot work in the United States. So he said it here that you may not work or engage in a full-time study unless they change their immigration status. So unless your immigration status is maybe changed to F1, I have a lot of F2 that come in here, and when they get here, they apply to school, and the school give them admission, they got scholarship, they got all those things, and the status is changed, so they can start earning. So as F2 student, as F2, when you come to the United States and you're still on that status, you can't work in the United States. So you are depending on your husband or your wife. So you're depending on your spouse. So you can't work here. So only what F2 can engage in is part-time study, like language learning and all those things. You can apply for that, but they can't work in the United States unless unless he or she status is changed. Okay. Then also for F2, their children are also eligible. They're eligible to study here full-time in the United States here. So F2 students may only engage in full-time study if they study in an elementary or secondary school. So like kindergarten through to 12th grade. So they're eligible to study there, not university, but only elementary, not even high school, only elementary. So that's about that. Now, the grace period to leave US as F1 status, the grace for you to leave is 2 years as F1 status is number one. If you finish your degree, say let's say PhD or master's, you're done with that, you have 60 days period to leave the United States. That is if you decided not to apply for a job, or you decided not to work in the United States. So you want to go back to your country, you have 60 days to leave. But if you apply for OPT, which is the optional practical training, you have some days at which you have to get a job. So within those days, if you don't get a job, you have to leave the United States of America. So even though you're on that OPT, you get a card for the OPT to work in the United States, you have limited days, and that days also is still 60 days. So you have 60 days period also to get a job, or you live in the United States of America. So now if you get a job as OPT and you do it for the first year, you apply, you renew it for another 2 years, which make it 3 years, and you don't change your status, maybe to like H-1B, which is job authorization, or change it to other status or something like that. The moment the 3 years of OPT ends, you have to leave the United States. You have to leave. The moment it ends, you have the 60 days grace. The moment the 60 days grace ends, you leave. So that's about that. Now to J-1 visa. I want to talk about J-1 visa. So I've explained F-1 visa. Now to J-1 visa. So for J-1 visa is often used for students who are specific, who are in a specific educational exchange program, such as Fulbright, or who are funded by their government. So if your government is sponsoring you, you're going to be on J-1 visa. And most of the time, total fund must be at least 50%. The total fund. Although it depends on different schools. Some schools will say 70%, some schools will say 51%, some will say 60%. So it depends on school. But I know for all major schools in the United States, the total fund must be 50%. And it must not be personal, it must not be from family or something. So, or friends or anything like that, it must not come from there. So if we're going to be on J-1 visa. So other than personal fund may include a scholarship or a grant from external fund source, or a fellowship or an assistantship in research. So sometimes you can get a assistantship research in the school here from America. If you get it, then you apply for J-1 visa. I mean, assistantship in research. So the assistantship research is different in two ways. In two ways, it says that you can get an assistantship in research and also get F1. You can also get that, and you can also get J-1. So it depends on the two. It depends on the two. So it depends on somebody you are maybe you are trying to work with. If the person said he's bringing you here just for 1 year to research with him, you may not be doing coursework or any other thing. You are coming here only for that research. for 1 year, it's going to be J1 visa. It's going to be J1 visa. But if you are coming here for 2 years and you're going to be doing coursework and every other thing, then you apply for F1 visa. And you can still be on assistantship, on research assistant. You still be on that. And you can also be a graduate teaching assistant. But if you're coming just for 1 year, you have to apply for J1 visa. And when you're done, you go back home. So that's about J1 visa. And other external foreign source may also include home country government or an international organization or a corporate sponsor. Okay. Then another thing that is very, very important is that you may be subject to a 2 years home country resident requirement if receiving government fund. So you may be required for home country residents. So they may require your home country resident stuff. That's very, very important for J1 visa. Now, also for the J1 visa, we want to talk about the campus employment and off-campus employment. So for campus employment, yeah, the same thing. You can work for 20 hours in the campus. The same thing. So that's not different. You can work for 20 hours in the campus. And you can also get a full-time work in the campus when they're on break. But when the campus is on section, means the school is on section, you work for the limited of 20 hours. But if it's out of section, you can work full-time, but it has to be inside the school. Inside the school. And no OPT. So that's the difference. So maybe you're done with your J1, you go back home. No OPT. You can't work here. You can't work here. So you have to go back home. Even if you are J1 visa, you come here for J1 visa and you get, for example, let's say you come here through J1 visa to study here in America for masters. And your government is one sponsoring you. And after you are done, you applied for PhD and you got the admission. And the school said they will sponsor you. You got this full-time scholarship, including graduate research and teaching assistant. You have to travel back to your country and change your status there. You can't change it here to F1. So you have to go back to your country. Go back, maybe do an interview again with the visa and consular and so on. Then you can now change your status. So that's about J1 visa. And for the J1 visa, talking about the spouse and your children. So for the J1 visa spouse, you can apply for J2 for maybe your husband, your wife, and you are permitted to work in the United States as a J2 visa person. Let me say, if you are on J2 status, you can apply to work in the United States. And after you apply, you have to get a permission from USCIS. You have to get a permission from them. And you can also study part-time or full-time, also as J2 visa. Study for part-time or full-time here also. And there are currently no regulatory restriction on J2 dependent studies. So that is the great thing about the difference between F1, F2, and J2. So F2, you can work. For J2, you can work, but you have to get a permission from USCIS. And the same thing applicable to J2 children also. They are able to study here in the United States of America too. Study here and so on and so forth like that. So what is the grace period for J2? The grace period for J2 is 30 days grace for them to depart. So they have 30 days to leave the country. So those are the difference between the J2 and J1 and F1 visa. If you have any question, you can comment below and I will answer your questions. But please subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm going to be dropping more videos. So the next video is going to be on the application into masters. Most importantly, I'll be starting with the school that gave me admission for masters here in the United States of America. So I'll talk about that, take you through everything. And if you have any questions, you can ask me. And this, we're going to be stopping here today. You're free to ask questions, comment below, and nice to meet you, everybody. Thank you.